Hello there, Father Scott Vanderveer here with a little reflection on the spirituality of aging. If you're like my family, there are a number of people that you love dearly who have experienced a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease. And if not Alzheimer's, perhaps another form of dementia. With this kind of disease, there is a tragic letting go that we could probably experience in no other way. The longest, slowest, hardest goodbye. It's a goodbye at first to someone's future. Understanding what their future will be like or being able to predict that. And then it moves on to being a terrible letting go of certain memories. Then of certain personality traits, then of a person's way of carrying themselves. Eventually, we have to say goodbye to their remembering our shared stories. We have to say goodbye to the look of recognition on their face when we walk in the room. Eventually, if they live long enough, we have to say goodbye to their being able to respond to simple instructions, to follow directions, to connect with us in any meaningful way. What I have learned from having this happen to some of my very favorite people in life, what I have learned is there is a deep spiritual opportunity for all of us when we love someone who has dementia, when we care about somebody who is no longer able to remember us. One of the things we learn is that our relationship with that person has a purity to it. Once they can no longer entertain us, once they can no longer greet us with humor or beguile us with charm, once they can no longer flatter us by saying, "How wonderful to see you," once they can no longer really know us the way we have been known, we start to realize that we never cared about them because they were charming, or because they made us feel so good, or because they were so sharp and witty. We realize in dementia, we just love them. We love their soul. We love who they are in their essence. This is a great gift for all of us who sometimes find it hard to be selfless in relationships, who sometimes are always thinking, what's in this for me? When we have someone we love who has dementia, who can not only not give to us the way they once did, but cannot even receive from us the way they once did, we start to realize the deep connection that we have soul to soul. Another thing that is fascinating about dementia is that we realize how much God loves each one of us, regardless of our accomplishments. I remember when my grandmother, my Polish Baci, who was my favorite person, when she first began to get dementia in its very serious stage, she said to me, "What's the difference between God and Jesus again? I don't remember. Why is God different than Jesus? Are they the same or are they different?" And it's actually a very deep question, but she didn't mean it in that way. She meant, I know I'm supposed to be able to tell them apart, but I can't. What I learned is, even when she couldn't remember God, God could remember her. God loved her despite her inability to know who God was, to worship God the way she did. She wasn't able to go to church. She wasn't able to give donations. She wasn't able to volunteer for things. But it didn't matter. She was just as loved. Her life had just as much purpose, whether she was productive or not. One of the things that dementia offers us is a real challenge to the growing sense that euthanasia ought to be voluntary. That we could reach a point in life where we say, I don't want to go through this anymore. I don't want to be in pain or to see my decline. I don't want to live in diminishment, or I can't do anything anymore. You've heard people say this. I'm no good to anybody. Dementia challenges us to think, is that really what life is about? What we can do? What we can accomplish? What we earn? What we can give to others? Is that really what it's all about? Dementia shows us that no matter how disfigured we get, mentally or physically, we never stop having the image of God imprinted in us. We're still in God's image and likeness. A person with full-blown dementia, a person in late-stage Alzheimer's disease who looks with that blank look and can't remember any of the people that were in their life, that person is just as much in God's image as every one of the rest of us. One of the things we've learned from the sadness of seeing our culture gripped by racism is that there's a lie out there that says that some people are more in God's image than others. Racism is the lie that people who don't share the skin color that I have are not as much in God's image. There's another lie that says that people who aren't the same gender that I am are not as much in God's image. When that lie gets wildly out of control, you have slavery. You have women being subjugated by men in terribly demeaning ways. When we realize that everybody is in the image and likeness of God and that can't be lost, we're given a real challenge directly from our faith. We're confronted with the truth that we don't give ourselves value, God gives us value. There's another group of people who get so angry at the wrongs of those who are incarcerated, of those who've committed crimes, that they feel they can lose the image of God, that they can distort it and have it taken away. But that's not true. Each of us is more than the worst thing we've ever done. Each of us is more than the accumulation of our wrongs. And each of us is more than what we've lost through dementia or anything else. May God help us to see the innate value in the human person. May our love for people with dementia purify our intention of loving others selflessly. And may we know that no matter what is ahead for any of us, nothing can separate us from the love of God, and nothing can take God's image and likeness from being stamped on our souls. May God bless you all.